I remember years ago, I was a very lonely person. I was very shy. I did not know how to meet women, to talk to women, and it was even hard for me to meet new friends. And I was searching online how to meet women. And this one word would come up every single time: seduction. Now at this point, I never really knew about the word seduction. Yeah, I've heard it before when I heard about the story of Casanova, and I've heard about The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene, but I never really thought about seduction as something that I would ever be doing. I even think it's kind of a funny word, kind of cheesy, like, oh, you're going to seduce a woman. But then I realized that seduction is a very real thing. And when you understand the laws of seduction, it can become extremely powerful. In fact, it changed my whole life. I've learned that people want to be seduced, and not just by a lover, but they want to be seduced when they're watching content. They want to be seduced when they are looking to a leader. And of course, women want to be seduced by a man. Once I finally learned this, I was able to talk to the women I wanted to talk to, get into relationships with the women I wanted to, and even now I'm in an amazing relationship. And it's all because I learned these 7 laws of seduction. Law number 1, whatever you feel, she feels. So that means when you're talking to people, the energy that you're giving off is the energy that they're going to feel the longer that they talk to you. So for example, if you're going up to a woman, you're doing an approach, and you come off really nervous, and she can tell because your body language or the way that you're breathing, she's gonna start to feel and pick up on that energy, and it's gonna make her feel not necessarily nervous, but even just a little bit more anxious. You ever hang out around someone who's really tired, really sleepy, and all of a sudden that down energy starts to make you feel a little bit more down? Or the exact opposite, when you're around somebody who feels really excited, who has a lot of energy, all of a sudden it just kind of wakes you up. Why? All because we are empathic creatures. We tend to feel what other people are feeling. For the law of seduction, you want to make sure that you feel comfortable, calm, confident. People will feel more comfortable around that kind of person. People feel more comfortable around a natural born leader who exhibits that energy and those traits. Law number 2 of seduction: initiating FOMO, or I like to say, the fear of missing out. Naturally, I want you to be a busy person. I want you to stay busy. I want you to always have something going on, because you should have a life that's filled with things that are interesting specifically to you. And what ends up happening because of this is the more that you're doing, and if you happen to document what you're doing, let's say on social media, you're going to initiate FOMO. People around you, even the women that you're dating, are gonna think that they're missing out. And not just missing out on whatever the activity is that you're doing, but missing out being with you, a fun, lively person. How do we do this practically? Well, you can be posting things on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, Snapchat, wherever. You can also send a text over to a woman with a picture of something that you're doing that's interesting, or something that's happening in front of you that's interesting. Basically showing her that if she is part of your life, she's gonna have a really good time, and that is going to seduce her into your life. And if you're not a person who's actively doing things, this is a good time to start. Law number 3 is speaking and tonality. I never was able to really have a lot of control over my voice, nor did I ever pay attention to it, until I learned that in order to seduce somebody, you need to have the right inflection, the right tonality, the right speed, and that is going to offer a more enjoyable experience when you're talking to somebody. For example, if you're talking really fast like this, and then you seem really nervous, it's gonna be very uncomfortable for the person that you're talking to.
Or maybe you're talking so fast that they can't even understand you.
Or you mumble too much, which, by the way, that is definitely something I'm guilty of. I try to work on it all the time, because people, in order to feel comfortable with you, seduced by you, they need to hear you. They need to feel your energy through your words, and that you're able to speak in a cadence that actually captures their attention. It actually sucks people in to the words that you're saying. Any great leader is able to talk in a way that get people to understand and hang on every last word. Law number 4, making more statements than you're asking questions. It is in our nature to be on a date, and you're talking to a woman, or do an approach, and you end up asking a lot of questions. You put it in interview mode, which is great, if you're interviewing somebody, but not so great if you're trying to seduce someone into your world. It is going to be 10x more powerful to be able to make statements instead of asking them a lot of questions. Now, I'm not saying that you have to stay away from asking any questions, but if you can help it, try to make statements that actually get her to ask you questions, and then it gets her invested in you. Here's an example of a statement that you can use. You can say to a woman something that you're up to, something that you want to do, something that you are going to do. Hey, I'm so excited. I'm gonna see the Rolling Stones. I'm going to check out this new restaurant. I'm going to travel to this new area. You can even take it up a notch and flirt with her by even guessing something about her and doing it in a teasing manner. Let's imagine that you approach a woman and then you say to her, I bet you that you are a picky eater. You say it in a teasing manner. She responds to you like, what are you talking about? No, I'm not, and tries to prove to you that she's not, or maybe even she is, and you guessed her correctly. This is a statement over a question. Way more interesting, way more fun, way more seductive. Seduction law number 5, reward her with touch. When she says something that you like, that is a moment where you can touch her. Maybe it's going for a hug, maybe it's lightly touching her arm, maybe it's giving her a high five. Either way, breaking the touch barrier at a moment where you're gifting it as a reward, it's going to offer a more powerful seductive experience. The reason why this works so well is because it reinforces the connection between you and her. So instead of verbally telling her that, hey, you really like what she said, you agree with what she said, or wow, you guys have so much in common, do it verbally a little bit, but also more so with touch. I know that touch can be really hard for guys because it's really nerve-wracking to actually touch a woman and break that touch barrier, because now you're making a stronger connection and you could get rejected and it could potentially go wrong. We're actually doing free calls right now where we're helping guys with being able to have more seductive touch and be able to break the touch barrier in a way that makes it easy for you to get her more interested in you. There's a link in the description down below, or you can go to tripadvicecoaching.com. Seduction law number 6 is sending mixed signals. I know this sounds really lame, maybe even sort of gamey, but this is actually what women want when it comes to seduction. In order to seduce a woman, she needs to know that she is actually chasing the guy. No woman will admit to that, where she says, yeah, I want to chase a guy. But in reality, she actually does, because the man that she is chasing is the same man who is desired by other women, and that makes him more desirable. She doesn't want someone that is easy or easy to get, because that means that he probably has low status. So how do you convey this? How do you send mixed signals? I don't mean that you're going to be love bombing her one day and throwing her to the curb another day. That's a little bit intense. What I mean is not texting her all the time, not seeing her more than 2 times per week when you guys are dating, not giving her all of your attention, which is what a lot of guys do. And then what happens is they end up in the needy zone. And she goes, wow, I am now this whole guy's life. This is weak. Law of seduction number 7. You want to make sure that you are bringing value instead of trying to get value. I'll tell you a quick story. It was just a few months ago that I was at my friend's bachelor party, and my friend has a lot of different friends from all different phases of life. He has people from college, from high school, from his residency at medical school. And so going on this bachelor party, I only knew maybe about 5% of the people who were going, and everyone else was very new. But I knew that if I was gonna have a good time here, even though I wasn't gonna see any of these people again, it'd probably be best that I just have the best time ever, and also make sure everyone else is having a good time. I noticed that some of the guys there were maybe a little bit more shy, a little bit more reserved. And now in my later years, having been able to get through that, I decided to be basically the life of the party. I was bringing people drinks, I was asking lots of questions, getting to know people. I was just going around making sure everyone was having a good time, helping out where I could. And not only was that fun for me, but by the end of it, I made a couple of good friends of guys who I've never met in my entire life, all because I was trying to bring value instead of going there and trying to just see if anyone else would do that for me. How does this work with dating, with meeting women? When you go to a party, you should be the life of the party. You should be going around, introducing yourself, talking to people, trying to help out. When you're planning a date with a woman, you should be the one who is planning the date, who is making it happen, who's being a leader, who's being persistent. I don't want you to be just waiting around for things to happen. I want you to take action and take control. People want to be around those kinds of people. Which of these laws resonates the most with you? Write a comment down below. I want to hear which one resonates, which one is something that you're going to work on more to be able to help you be more seductive in your life and change it just like I did mine.